Udakamangalam, Udakamangalam, Agnimangalam, Agnimangalam, Vayumangalam, Vayumangalam, Gaganamangalam, Gaganamangalam, Suryamangalam, Suryamangalam, Chandramangalam, Chandramangalam, Jagatamangalam, Jagatamangalam, Jivamangalam, Jivamangalam, Dehamangalam, Dehamangalam, Manomangalam, Manomangalam, Atmamangalam, Sarvamangalam, Bhavatu, Bhavatu, Bhavatu. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Namaste. Welcome to this conference, part of series of conferences being organized by Indic Academy. Earlier, we conducted several conferences on several different topics, and there are more in the pipeline. Today's conference theme, Hinduism and Environmentalism, was also covered in an earlier conference. It was at that time called Indigenous Environmentalism. Actually, we earlier called it Pagan Environmentalism. We wanted to focus broadly on the entire pagan traditions. And at that time, we included Buddhism, Jainism, and Hinduism, and also folk traditions and tribal traditions as part of the focus. This particular conference is being organized for a greater focus, for a narrower focus on Hinduism itself from the environmentalism point of view. Before I get into the theme of this conference, let me just give a brief about what Indic Academy does and how we go about. Sri Harikiran Vadlamani Garu, the founder of our organization, with his incessant creativity, keeps giving new themes, keeps starting new units, new parts of the organization. And these new themes of the conference also are getting generated from his incessantly creative brain. And as part of Indic Academy's academic work, we conduct workshops, we conduct Shastrartha Sadas, Vakyartha Sadas, we conduct Indica courses, we conduct several varieties of programs. All these programs, in the words of Sri Harikiran ji, we can classify them into three categories. One is preservation. Under this category, we preserve, Indic Academy as an organization funds preservation of Shastras. For example, we fund a Tenali Pariksha, where Shastras like Nyaya, Vyakarana, Vedanta are tested. In India today, Tenali Pariksha is considered to be the highest standard, gold standard for acknowledging the Shastra knowledge of any scholar. Such a Pariksha is being funded by Indic Academy. And we fund Gurukulas, Griha Gurukulas, that is, a teacher keeps students at his home and teaches Shastras, even that is funded. And any Hindu cultural tradition for preserving, Indic Academy comes forward and helps preservation of, for example, crafts and arts and sculpting or any other embodied knowledge also. Under protection, the second P that Sri Harikiran mentions, we counter the attacks on Hindu culture from the adversaries from different fields, particularly academically. Those of the academicians who are against our traditions and culture, whatever books they write, we review them, we expose the lacunae in their argument, and we counter their arguments, and so on. Another area is promotion. So we promote Hindu culture through all the platforms that we have. We have a center for soft power. We have a center for embodied knowledge. We have a, classical library. We have many other such platforms through which we promote Hindu culture in all its aspects. So this conference is also a part of the same endeavor of preservation, protection, and promotion. And as part of the intense academic activity, these conferences are happening. And earlier we conducted conferences on Hindu aesthetics, Hindu art, architecture, and artisans, and Hindu meditation. Uh, Actually, there is a small change in the way we are naming these conferences also. Earlier, names used to be Indian, Indic, but gradually we realized that the hesitation on our part not to use the word Hindu in the titles is also coming out as a weakness on our side. So we thought, okay, let us be very vocal about it, and we have started using the word Hindu, Hinduism very clearly in the titles of our conferences. One of the such titles is this title, Hinduism and Environmentalism, for this particular conference also. And personally, from my side, this topic is very close to my heart because right from my college days, university days, from my early education, I was almost supernaturally, through some spiritual guidance, was carried into this environmentalist activity. Actually, I should thank Vittal Rajanji, the Deccan Development Society person in Hyderabad, who visited my university when my classes were being conducted in Golden Threshold campus, Abbott's campus of my university, University of Hyderabad. He was publishing a book called Ecological Crisis Strategies of the Poor. And I was just a student, a beginning student of MA at that time. But because people used to look at my Sanskrit those days, he said, can you write something about Vedic solution to the ecological crisis? Then all of a sudden it occurred to me that I could go to Evam Pravartitam Chakram Nanu Vartayati Hayaha Aghayarindriya Ramo Moham Partha Sajivati of Bhagavad Gita, and the whole thing dawned on me, and I started writing the article for him. And from then onwards, it was academically also consulting books, consulting scholars, and joining environmentalist movements. That is on a personal note. But historically, friends, let us see that the word environmentalism that we are using is not very old. It's just recent. It is from 60s that we see this word. And it is this movement, environmentalism movement, that actually is putting three on the back foot. One is Western traditions on the back foot, two, Abrahamic religions on the back foot, three, S&T, science and technology, on the back foot. All the three have been blamed for this crisis, ecological crisis. And all the environmentalist movements, they use these words, Western, Abrahamic religions, particularly, for example, Christianity. Lynn White Jr.'s article roots of the ecological crisis, it squarely blames Christianity for the ecological crisis. And on the cultural study, sociological study of SNP inside university departments also, with this small introduction to the theme, where we were actually focusing on the fact that uh, all indigenous cultures, including Hinduism, are on a very strong grounding, on a very strong footing with regard to environmentalism. And it is environmentalist movements all over the world that give opportunity to traditions and traditional cultures. These words like traditions and traditional cultures in the areas where I move, like Indology, are bad words. Actually, those scholars consider themselves to be on the side of history, and from the side of history, they attack the word, very word, and the concept tradition itself. But tradition, traditional cultures, for example, UNESCO has come up with a charter of sustaining traditional cultures. And now there is a whole awareness that sustenance of biology, sustenance of nature, sustenance of natural culture is possible only with the sustenance of diversity of cultures itself. So sustenance of nature is also a culture, is the awareness that we got, and the pro-diversity attitude that is available in Hinduism, articulated in so many different ways, the ingrained pluralist culture that is ingrained in Hinduism that we see now can be explained in terms of environmentalism being a diversity oriented movement. And we have many, many such scopes for articulating the roots of Hindu culture, Hindu worldview from this point of view.